Hey everyone. Today we're diving deep into something incredibly important for anyone on a health journey, especially if you're navigating the world of keto or dealing with prediabetes. Following keto or diagnosed with prediabetes, these 5 habits might be silently sabotaging your results. You might be doing everything else right, carefully selecting your foods, tracking your macros, and staying active, but still find yourself hitting a frustrating plateau or not seeing the improvements you expect in your blood sugar levels or weight. It's a common scenario, and often, the culprits are subtle habits that we don't even realize are working against us. The truth is, these aren't obscure mistakes. They're quite common, and I see them frequently. Even health-conscious people make these mistakes, and they can prevent you from reversing insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is a key factor in both prediabetes and the challenges many face when trying to become fat-adapted on a ketogenic diet. When insulin levels are chronically high, your body struggles to burn fat for fuel, and your cells become less responsive to insulin's message to take up glucose. This can lead to persistent high blood sugar, weight gain, and a host of other health issues. So, in this video, we're going to uncover 5 specific habits that could be undermining your hard work. We'll break down why they're problematic, how they impact your insulin levels and overall metabolic health, and most importantly, what you can do to correct them. My goal is to empower you with the knowledge to fine-tune your approach, overcome these hidden obstacles, and finally achieve the sustainable results you're looking for. Let's get started and identify these saboteurs so you can reclaim your progress. Alright, let's tackle the first habit, and it's a big one. Snacking too often, even if those snacks are labeled keto-friendly. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but they're low-carb. They fit my macros. And while that might be true from a macronutrient standpoint, the frequency of eating plays a massive role in your insulin response. Every single time you eat, regardless of what it is, you stimulate a release of insulin. Insulin is a hormone that tells your body to store energy, and when it's constantly present, your body never really gets a chance to switch over to fat-burning mode. Think of it like this: your body needs periods of rest from digestion and insulin release. If you're eating breakfast, then a mid-morning snack, then lunch, an afternoon snack, dinner, and maybe even a late-night keto treat, your insulin levels are on a roller coaster all day long. There's no significant window where insulin can drop low enough for your body to effectively tap into its stored fat reserves for energy. This is crucial, especially if you're trying to reverse insulin resistance or achieve ketosis. The goal is to lower insulin, not keep it chronically elevated, even if it's with healthy foods. This constant insulin stimulation prevents your cells from having that crucial reset period for glucose management. Your liver, which plays a key role in blood sugar regulation, doesn't get a break. It's constantly being told to store. For individuals with prediabetes, this is particularly detrimental because their cells are already struggling to respond to insulin. By snacking frequently, you're essentially pouring more fuel on the fire, making it harder for your body to regain insulin sensitivity. It's not just about what you eat, but when and how often you eat. The solution here lies in embracing time-restricted eating or creating mindful fasting windows. This doesn't mean you have to jump into a 24-hour fast immediately. It can be as simple as gradually shrinking your eating window. For example, instead of eating from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., you might aim to consume all your meals between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., giving your body a solid 16 hours of fasting. This allows insulin levels to fall significantly, promoting fat burning and improving insulin sensitivity. During these fasting periods, your body can finally get to work on cellular repair processes like autophagy, and it can start utilizing stored glucose and fat for energy. This is where the magic happens for reversing insulin resistance and enhancing the benefits of a ketogenic diet. It's about giving your digestive system and your hormonal system a well-deserved break. So that keto-friendly snack bar or handful of nuts between meals, it might be doing more harm than good if it's contributing to a constant state of being fed. The less frequently you spike insulin, the better your body becomes at managing blood sugar and burning fat. So, the first step is to become aware of your snacking habits. Now let's move on to the second habit that can seriously derail your progress: overeating dairy or nuts. These are often staples in a ketogenic diet, and for good reason. They can be great sources of fat and certain nutrients. However, like anything, too much of a good thing can become a problem, especially when you're trying to manage insulin resistance or lose weight. The issue here is twofold: the sheer caloric density, particularly from fat, and the often underestimated carbohydrate content in some of these foods. Many people starting keto get excited about being able to eat cheese, heavy cream, and handfuls of almonds or macadamia nuts. And while these are certainly better choices than high-carb processed foods, it's easy to go overboard. The calories can add up incredibly fast. A small handful of nuts might seem innocuous, but it can pack a significant caloric punch. Similarly, adding cheese to everything or using copious amounts of heavy cream can contribute to a caloric surplus, even if the carbs are low. If you're consuming more energy than your body is expending, weight loss will stall, regardless of ketosis. Beyond just the calories, let's consider the hidden carbs. While nuts are generally low-carb, some varieties have more carbs than others. Cashews, for instance, are notably higher in carbs compared to pecans or macadamias. If you're not carefully tracking or are consuming large quantities, these carbs can accumulate and potentially kick you out of ketosis, or at the very least, slow down your progress in lowering blood sugar. Dairy, too, contains lactose, which is milk sugar. Full-fat dairy products like hard cheeses and heavy cream have less lactose than milk or yogurt, but it's still present. For individuals with prediabetes or insulin resistance, even these smaller amounts of carbohydrates from nuts and dairy, if consumed in excess, can contribute to higher blood glucose levels and a continued demand for insulin. The goal is to keep insulin as low as possible, and while fats have a minimal impact on insulin directly, overconsumption can lead to weight gain, which itself worsens insulin resistance. Furthermore, the combination of high-fat and even moderate hidden carbs can be a tricky one for the body to process efficiently, when insulin sensitivity is already compromised. Another aspect often overlooked by beginners, and even some seasoned keto followers, is the potential for dairy and nuts to cause bloating, digestive discomfort, or trigger cravings. Many people have underlying sensitivities to dairy, whether it's lactose intolerance or a reaction to casein or whey proteins. This can manifest as bloating, gas, or inflammation, which is counterproductive to overall health. Nuts, especially if not properly prepared, like soaking or sprouting, contain phytates and lectins that can irritate the gut lining for some individuals, leading to similar digestive issues. These digestive disturbances aren't just uncomfortable, they can also stall your progress. Chronic inflammation in the gut can contribute to systemic inflammation, which is linked to insulin resistance. Let's talk about a critical factor that often gets pushed to the back burner, yet it has a profound impact on your keto journey and your ability to manage prediabetes sleep. Specifically, not getting enough quality sleep. You can have the most perfectly formulated ketogenic diet, track every macro, and exercise diligently, but if your sleep is chronically compromised, you're fighting an uphill battle against insulin resistance. This is a non-negotiable aspect of metabolic health. The connection between poor sleep and insulin resistance is well documented and incredibly strong. Even just a few nights of insufficient sleep can significantly impair your body's ability to handle glucose. Studies have shown that sleep deprivation can make your cells less sensitive to insulin, meaning your pancreas has to pump out more insulin to get glucose into your cells. This is the very definition of increased insulin resistance. Imagine trying to reverse insulin resistance while simultaneously engaging in a habit that actively promotes it. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. Think about what happens physiologically when you're sleep deprived. Your stress hormone, cortisol, tends to be higher. Elevated cortisol signals your liver to release more glucose into the bloodstream, which further demands more insulin. This creates a vicious cycle. You're tired, so your cortisol is up. Your cortisol is up, so your blood sugar is up. Your blood sugar is up, so your insulin is up. This makes it much harder to get into or stay in ketosis, and it directly counteracts efforts to lower blood sugar for prediabetes management. Moreover, lack of sleep messes with your hunger and satiety hormones, ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin, the hunger hormone, increases when you're sleep deprived, making you feel hungrier and often crave high-carb sugary foods, the very things you're trying to avoid. Leptin, the satiety hormone, which tells your brain you're full, decreases. So you're hit with a double whammy: increased hunger and reduced feelings of fullness. This makes sticking to your dietary plan incredibly challenging. Even if you manage to resist those cravings and stick to your keto foods, the underlying metabolic dysregulation from poor sleep is still at play. Your body simply doesn't function optimally. Cellular repair processes, which predominantly occur during deep sleep, are impaired. Your energy levels are lower, making it harder to be physically active. Your cognitive function can suffer, affecting your decision-making around food and other healthy habits. It's a systemic issue. Let's unmask another common saboteur, those so-called keto products packed with hidden sweeteners. The market is now flooded with snacks, bars, shakes, and desserts labeled keto-friendly, low-carb, or zero sugar. While some of these can be helpful in a pinch or as an occasional treat, many are laden with certain types of sweeteners that can still spike your insulin, trigger cravings, and stall your progress, especially if you have prediabetes or are sensitive to insulin. The main culprits here are often sugar alcohols like maltitol and sorbitol, and sometimes even artificial sweeteners like sucralose or aspartame, depending on the product and the individual's response. Maltitol in particular is notorious for having a glycemic index that's not insignificant, meaning it can raise blood sugar and consequently, insulin levels, sometimes almost as much as regular sugar for some people. This completely defeats the purpose of choosing a keto product if your goal is to keep insulin low. Many people assume that if a product says keto on the label, it's automatically good for them and won't impact their blood sugar or insulin. Unfortunately, this is a misconception fueled by clever marketing. Food manufacturers know that keto is a buzzword and they're quick to formulate products that fit the macronutrient profile on paper: high fat, moderate protein, low net carbs, but may not be metabolically benign. The net carb calculation itself can be misleading if the carbs are being subtracted due to sugar alcohols that still have a glycemic impact. These sweeteners don't just potentially raise insulin, they can also perpetuate cravings for sweet things. When you consume something intensely sweet, even if it's calorie-free or low-calorie, it can light up the reward pathways in your brain, similar to how sugar does. This can make it harder to break free from the sweet taste dependency and may lead you to seek out more sweet foods, whether they're keto or not. For someone trying to reset their palate and reduce sugar cravings, these products can be a significant roadblock. Furthermore, many sugar alcohols like sorbitol, erythritol, though generally better tolerated, xylitol and maltitol, can cause digestive distress in some individuals, especially when consumed in larger quantities. Symptoms can include bloating, gas, cramping, and diarrhea. This is because they are not fully absorbed in the small intestine and can be fermented by bacteria in the large intestine. Dealing with digestive upset is certainly not conducive to feeling your best or sticking with your health plan. The tip here is simple but crucial: prioritize real whole foods. The foundation of a truly effective ketogenic diet, especially for managing insulin resistance and prediabetes, should be unprocessed foods like meat, fish, poultry, eggs, non-starchy vegetables, avocados, olives, and healthy fats like olive oil, coconut oil, and butter or ghee. These foods don't come with confusing ingredient lists or hidden problematic sweeteners. They are what your body is designed to recognize and metabolize efficiently. When you find yourself reaching for processed keto-labeled snacks, ask yourself why. Our final habit, and it's a pervasive one in modern life, is chronic stress and the resulting high cortisol levels. You could be meticulously following your keto diet, avoiding snacks, getting enough sleep, and steering clear of hidden sweeteners, but if you're constantly under a high degree of stress, it can significantly undermine all your efforts, particularly when it comes to blood sugar control and insulin resistance. Stress is not just a mental or emotional issue, it has profound physiological consequences. When you experience stress, whether it's from work pressure, financial worries, relationship issues, or even excessive exercise or under-eating, your body activates its fight or flight response. This triggers the release of stress hormones, primarily cortisol and adrenaline, from your adrenal glands. One of the key actions of cortisol is to increase glucose availability to provide your body with quick energy to deal with the perceived threat. It does this by stimulating gluconeogenesis in the liver, the production of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources, and by promoting insulin resistance in your muscle and fat cells, so they take up less glucose, leaving more in the bloodstream. Now, this response is incredibly useful in acute, short-term stressful situations. However, in our modern world, many of us experience chronic, low-grade stress that keeps cortisol levels persistently elevated. This means your body is constantly being signaled to produce more glucose and to become more insulin resistant, even if you're in a fasted state or eating very few carbohydrates. You might notice your fasting blood glucose levels are stubbornly high in the morning, despite a perfect keto dinner the night before. Chronic stress could very well be the culprit. This constant elevation of glucose due to stress hormones places an ongoing demand on your pancreas to produce more insulin. Over time, this can exacerbate insulin resistance or make it much harder to reverse. It's like your body is fighting itself. You're trying to lower insulin through diet, but stress is pushing it back up. This is why managing stress is not just a soft recommendation, It's a critical component of any plan aimed at improving metabolic health, especially for those with prediabetes or on a ketogenic diet. The impact of chronic stress goes beyond just blood sugar and insulin. High cortisol can lead to increased abdominal fat storage, muscle breakdown, impaired immune function, and can disrupt sleep patterns, creating a vicious cycle with what we discussed in Chapter 3. It can also fuel cravings for comfort foods, which are often high in carbs and sugar, making it even harder to stick to your healthy eating plan. Stress can truly be a silent saboteur, working behind the scenes to counteract your best intentions. So, what can we do to manage chronic stress and lower cortisol? It's about incorporating intentional stress-reducing practices into your daily life. One powerful yet simple technique is breath work. Deep, diaphragmatic breathing can activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest system that counteracts the fight or flight response. So, there you have it. 5 common yet often overlooked habits that could be silently sabotaging your keto and prediabetes progress. We've covered frequent snacking, overdoing dairy and nuts, skimping on sleep, falling for keto products with hidden sweeteners, and letting chronic stress run rampant. It's a lot to take in, but awareness is the very first step towards making positive changes. Recognizing these patterns in your own life is crucial for breaking free from plateaus and truly optimizing your metabolic health. Now, I want you to reflect honestly. Which of these habits are you guilty of? Drop your number in the comments. Maybe it's one, maybe it's a few, or perhaps you've identified something new. There's no judgment here. This community is about support and learning together. The goal isn't to achieve perfection overnight, but to make incremental improvements that compound over time. Start by picking just one of these areas to focus on this week. Implement the solutions we discussed, whether it's creating a fasting window, being more mindful of your nut intake, prioritizing your sleep, reading labels more carefully, or incorporating daily stress reduction techniques. Remember, reversing insulin resistance and achieving sustainable results on a ketogenic diet is a journey, not a race. These adjustments can make a profound difference in how you feel, your energy levels, your blood sugar control, and your ability to burn fat effectively. You have the power to take control and fine-tune your approach. Don't let these subtle saboteurs hold you back any longer. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more content like this, and share it with anyone you think might benefit. I'm 24, and I'll see you in the next video.